Imagine going to your bank tomorrow to withdraw your money only to hear these terrifying words. "We don't have your money anymore." Within days, millions of people lost everything. Businesses collapsed, families became homeless, banks shut their doors, and the world's richest country suddenly found itself fighting for survival. But how did this happen? And could something like this happen again? Today we're going to uncover the shocking story of the Great Depression in the simplest way possible. By the end of this video you'll understand why one financial disaster changed the world forever. The world before the crash. To understand the Great Depression we first need to travel back to the 1920s. America was booming. Factories were producing more products than ever before. Cars, radios, refrigerators, and new inventions were making everyday life exciting. People believed the future could only get better. Businesses expanded rapidly. Banks happily handed out loans. Ordinary families who had never invested before suddenly wanted to buy stocks. The stock market became the hottest place to make money. People weren't just investing their savings. Many borrowed money believing stock prices would rise forever. The mood was simple. Everyone believed getting rich was easy. But behind all the excitement, a dangerous problem was quietly growing. Very few people realized it. The stock market bubble. Imagine buying a small toy for $10. The next day someone offers $20. The next day another person pays $40. Soon everyone wants the toy. Not because it's useful, but because they believe someone else will pay even more tomorrow. That is exactly what happened in the stock market. Stock prices climbed much faster than companies were actually growing. People stopped asking whether businesses were worth those prices. They only cared that prices kept going up. Banks encouraged borrowing. New investors entered every day. The excitement became contagious. It looked like a never-ending money machine. But bubbles have one thing in common. Eventually they burst. Black Tuesday. Then came October 1929. One morning investors became nervous. Some started selling. Others panicked after seeing prices fall. Soon millions of shares flooded the market. Everyone wanted to sell. Almost nobody wanted to buy. Prices collapsed within hours. Fortunes disappeared before lunch. Some investors lost everything they had spent decades building. The crash shocked the entire nation. But surprisingly, the stock market crash itself wasn't the Great Depression. It was only the beginning. The real disaster started afterwards. When banks failed. As people heard frightening news, they rushed to banks hoping to withdraw their savings. The problem was simple. Banks don't keep everyone's cash sitting inside the building. Most of that money had already been loaned to businesses and families. When thousands of people demanded cash at the same time, banks couldn't pay everyone. One bank failed, then another, then hundreds more. Families who had trusted banks for years suddenly lost everything. Savings disappeared overnight. Life savings, retirement funds, business money, all gone. Fear spread faster than the economy could recover. Life during the Great Depression. Factories closed because customers stopped buying. Businesses laid off workers. Millions became unemployed. Parents struggled to feed their children. Some families lost their homes. Others stood in long lines just to receive a bowl of soup. Entire communities that once seemed successful suddenly faced poverty. For many people, survival became more important than dreams. The Great Depression wasn't just about money. It changed people's confidence, hope, and belief in the future. How the world recovered. Governments slowly introduced new programs. Banks became more regulated. Jobs were created. Infrastructure projects gave people work again. Confidence slowly returned. Recovery didn't happen overnight. It took years of hard work and major changes to rebuild the economy. The lessons learned during the Great Depression continue to influence banking, investing, and government policies even today. The Great Depression reminds us that economies don't collapse in a single day. They weaken slowly before they suddenly break. Understanding history helps us recognize warning signs before they become disasters. If you enjoyed learning finance and history explained, simply subscribe, because our next story might completely change the way you think about money forever.